Hello and welcome to part 3 of my RC4 wheel drive Trailfinder 2 build. This episode is basically mostly going to be about body detailing, just doing a bit more weathering, getting the interior put in and doing some work on the back bed as well. Basically finishing the entire body without adding any scale accessories and stuff beyond what's in the cab. We're going to move on to part 4 after that, and part 4 is going to be talking about the chassis, the motor, the ESC, all that sort of stuff, then bunging it all together and taking it out for a drive. So part 4 will be the finale, and I hope you've enjoyed it so far. So let's not dally around anymore, let's just get on with it. With the light set in and all the external fixtures on, bar the wing mirrors, because I'm not going to put them on because I wanted to do another matte varnish, which I've already done. I didn't want to ruin or change any of the aspects of the exterior right now. So the lights are all on. I've tinted my headlights with a bit of yellow ink just to take away from the stark blue that they are straight out of the packet. It won't help too much, but it might help a bit. So the plans are for the back bed to be done. There's going to be a new bed put in, or a bed cover put in, and then a roll bar put in there. That's all going to happen whenever I get the rest of the parts I need for that. Get some scale bolts and stuff in there, make it look like a real sort of cobbled together kind of floor that I'm going to add in there. So with that, this is now going to take a bit of a back seat. Because we have our interior to work on now. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. And here is my interior. So I have my driver figure, which is a Nathan Drake. This poor guy is going to suffer soon. And then I have my 3D printed, resin 3D printed interior. I'm not sure how robust this is going to be, but it's going to be there anyway. Painted up with just a few Vallejo colors, a little bit of weathering just to make it look a bit more interesting. The dashboard is a right-hand side or right-hand drive dashboard from Shapeways for the Mojave body, and that fits really great in there. It's their cheaper material, their versatile white plastic, but it paints up well enough, using the same colors as I did on this part of the interior. And I like having a different color dash top, you know, this sort of khaki that I've gone with both the interiors. They're going to stand out really nicely through the windshield and stand out nicely against the turquoise of the truck. Not weathered too heavily, but you know, the details are all there. Now, as it currently stands, a 7-inch figure is roughly 1/10 scale. It should be 7.2 inches, but you know, who's counting? And at the minute, because this is only a half depth interior, his legs are a problem. His hips and his backside are a bit of a problem because he's not sitting in a way that looks like he'd actually be driving the truck. He actually looks like a giant sitting in there at the minute. So what I'm going to have to do is cut him down. And what I'm thinking of is I can take the torso off, and that's fine, leave that as it is. But this part, what I want to do is angle it as much as possible so that it looks like he's actually in a sitting position. Glue these joints solid, and then take a saw and cut, probably along the seam of the trousers here, cut that down and make that flat, and then chop the legs just above the ankle. That way he should be able to fit in there without looking too out of place. So that's the plan. I'm going to go and do that. That's going to all happen out in my garage because there's going to be a lot of mess. And I'll come back in a minute and just show you how that looks, and then we can assemble the interior and put that into the body. So the interior is in, and I've added my little windshield wipers there as well. And just to show you, I love the contrast between the khaki painted interior and the bluer, sort of more weathered exterior. I think it's going to look really good up on the trail. Now, my figure was a little bit more problematic than I really anticipated. I knew that it was going to be a bit of a challenge, but I've had to cut him down more at the waist and cut him down more at the neck. So he's a little squat in there, but you know, he's a big guy. Nathan Drake is a bit of a Chad. So that's all done. And I believe I now also have these on as well, my rear views, and the back window, which is currently still drying, but hopefully that microcrystal clear that I used, which is this stuff, should be able to hold that window in place. But I'll know when I start running the truck if it's enough, or if I need to go back and do some two-part epoxy glue or something like that, just to seal that in a little bit better. But the interior is in. It's now time to do a little bit of extra detailing on the exterior. Now I know this back bed is going to be changed, that's fine. I'll be able to paint and weather it before I even install it, which is what my plan is. So we're now going to do three things. First, we're going to take some light rust wash, which is a paint I mentioned during the painting stage in part 2. We're going to use that to go around certain little lines and little bits and bobs just to bring up a little bit more rust. We're then going to take a little bit of AK Interactive shafts and bearing grease. We're going to use that as fuel spillage from the filler on the side here, make that look a little bit more dirty, maybe a little bit up here along the hood as well. And then finally, landing gear dust effect. So this is a filter from AK, and I'm going to be putting that over the bottom sort of third of the body, and probably put it into the cab as well. I also want to use it on the windows, just to let it dry and then wipe it back in so that it's just settled around the edges. This should be water resistant, but it won't be touch resistant. So I'm going to maybe either do a little bit of varnishing around it, or just let it settle and just see what it looks like. But time for another montage, because we're now going to weather the vehicle again. So here we have the body now completely weathered and a few other additional things added to it as well. So first off, I want to start at the front here. We have this nice big bumper here, which is the C-Hand kangaroo bumper. This has a plate for it that goes back into the chassis and mounts the winch inside the chassis just alongside, like sort of around here inside the body, sitting in front of the motor and the steering servo. So it sits there, it's quite nice, it's nice and compact, and we get this really cool short bumper. You have to add this part to it yourself, but that's fine, it doesn't worry me. I haven't put the front lights in, I don't think I'm going to be honest. Further along, you can see a lot of work has happened in the back. So the first thing I did was take some of this checker plate. This is aluminium checker plate. It's a scaled stuff, you can buy it in A4 size sheets. Took that, measured out the inside of the bed, trimmed it down, and it just slots in. I just wanted to cover the ridges in the back bed. I wanted to cover the 2 holes that are for the old mounting pins. We don't need any of that. I then took this little roll bar that I got really cheap off AliExpress, I don't know, 11, 12 pounds, something like that. Drilled through, screwed it down so it's now attached, screwed right through the aluminium and the plastic body, and then there's nuts on the underside of that that's holding all that down nice and tight. The aluminium itself isn't actually glued or fixed, it's just held with the 4 screws that are holding my roll bar on. Now, that I think is going to do us for part 3, because in part 4 I want to talk more about the chassis and actually have enough time in the video to do a running video, because I really want to get this thing running now. Hopefully you're enjoying it still, and yeah, just thanks for watching and tune in for part 4. That'll be our finale.